Today, from Sturdy Shelter Brewing.
I would not have opened this brewery if it was only for beer.
Okay.
Beer is not enough. Beer is a medium. My phone is like ding, 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 ding. I look at my phone and there's congratulations. And eventually I said, for what? This is...
The way he's hesitating, Cody, this is going to be good.
I'm really excited for this.
I'm hesitating because it's emotional.
Oh, now I feel like a jerk.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cody. Welcome to Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer, the podcast that will increase your enjoyment of craft beer and your appreciation for the people who brew it. On this episode, we have traveled to Batavia, Illinois to go from grain to glass with Sturdy Shelter Brewing. My guest today is head brewer and owner Frank Mercadante. Frank, thank you. Thanks for being here. This is very exciting. We're glad to have you. It's a beautiful location. I am beer drinker and hellraiser Brian Noonan, and all my opinions are strictly my own, and you will find out why as we go on. Behind the camera is our award-winning executive producer, Cody Goff. Oh, Cody, what are you excited about for this episode?
I'm excited because we're in a brewery that is going to talk about the spirituality of hospitality. How is this place connecting people and serving as a real pillar of its community? Like, real pillar. And also, you're going to learn about a delicious dark Czech lager and what makes Hefeweizen so one of the hardest beers to brew. Also, what makes a good Dunkel. Lots of beer talk. I'm very excited.
It's going to be a great night. Well, we are at Sturdy Shelter Brewing, 10 South Shumway Avenue in Batavia, Illinois. SturdyShelterBrewing.com is the website. The tap room that we are in now opened in 2022. The building which we will get to, opened way, way before that. This building is full of history. And full disclosure, I've never been to Sturdy Shelter before, and I got here about an hour ago. And you've all been to a place where you walk in and you go, oh, this place has the right vibe. I could sit here all the time. It's like an hour from the house, so I won't be sitting here all the time, but I will definitely be coming back just because of the vibe of the building. So I mentioned the building. It's rich in history. It dates back to the mid-1800s. Legend has it, and it's been proven by the mayor himself, Cody. Don't at me. Talk to the mayor of Batavia. He's the history buff who said Mark Twain spoke in this exact building.
Smoked?
I don't know if he smoked. He spoke.
Oh, spoke.
The English language. Because it was a music hall and a theater back then. Now it's been renovated into this exquisite brewery and tap. So, again, my guest is Frank Mercadante. He is the owner. He is the head brewer. And according to the website, and we'll get into this, but it says at Sturdy Shelter Brewing, we enjoy creating many types of beer, each one purposeful, using fresh and unique ingredients whenever possible. We'll get into the brewing part, but Frank, I'm glad you're here. You have this is going to be great. And I, Cody, how many times have I said this at the beginning of the show? Never really. I never say this is going to be great, but the story is fantastic. I want to start with. You mentioned that all your beers tell a story, and that's what we do. We tell stories here. We let the brewers tell their stories. So when you say that you want each of your beers to tell a story, what does that mean? How does a beer tell a story?
Well, I think part of the process for us, like when we're doing a beer that is like a particular style, we want to, of course, be connected to the history and in kind of that whole tradition. So, you want to tell a story that is really based in some of that history, that tradition of that style, but also, and maybe a little bit, particularly meaningful to me is that we like to name our beers. Like we take a lot of time about naming them and a story behind them.
There's a lot of stories behind your names, and I read one on the website, and it's about your dad,
yes.
Which I found very. A lot of guys have that relationship with their dad where they're close, but it's not that traditional closeness. Tell us about the story of Francesco.
Yeah, Francesco. So my dad was born in Sicily. He was he was born there, came over as a child, and lived. Born. His roots are in Italy. His most of the time that he lived his life, it was here in the U.S.
Okay.
And I wanted to brew an Italian Pilsner because of just because I thought that would be a good match for his personality. But there's a whole...
Now, was he a fan of beer?
No. So
okay.
This is what the funny part about my dad was, that he would drink a Miller High Life, would not usually finish it when he went out to dinner.
Okay.
And that was pretty much the extent. He never drank beer in the house.
Okay.
So he was not a big beer drinker. However, my dad passed away about 3 years ago. And so the story that really, that generated this whole concept of making this beer after him was he was in hospice. He had stopped eating, and they live in Cleveland. So I went, I made up the plan to spend time with him during these last days. So my mother says to him, she says to my dad, Frankie's coming to town. And he says, "Oh, I think I'll have a beer with Frankie." And so
that's excellent.
No, it was so when I got there, at this point he wasn't eating. But when I got into the room, he was in bed, and he wasn't talking very much, but he looked at me and he says, "Beer." Beer. So we had this beer.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, we had it like 2 days before he passed, a day before he passed. He requested a second day. And I always felt like this is while we were developing the brewery. The brewery wasn't open yet.
Okay.
But with my parents, I would share all the progress of the brewery. I'd share what was, where we are at, with everything. And I felt like when he wanted to have that beer with me, two things. One, I know my son loves beer, and I want to have a beer with him before I leave this earth. And then secondly, I always interpreted it as my father's blessing on this whole vision, this whole endeavor.
Yeah, it seems to send that message that I'm proud of what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. Was it a Miller High Life?
That we drank?
Yes.
It was a Pilsner.
Oh,
it was
okay.
It was kind of a ale Pilsner. But there's now the construction of the recipe of that beer is also really important.
Okay.
So Italian Pilsners are dry hop German Pils. They tend to be a bit on the hoppy side and more so than a German Pils. But my father was a very mellow, kind, gentle man, and everyone, like, he was the guy that always sit and will listen to you. And so I wanted to make a beer that would reflect his personality.
Okay.
So the base malt is Iraclia, which is a Weyermann Pilsner malt that is grown in Italy.
Really?
And so that reflects my dad's roots in Italy.
Right.
For the hopping, I'm using an American hop that is derived from German noble hop, and that's Supersazer, which is it's kind of based on Saaz, which is a noble hop from Bohemia. And so I wanted to have, we got this American part, so we got the melding of the two places in which he lived.
Right.
And then I wanted it to be really easy drinking, like he was easy to be with. Okay. I wanted it to be something you could drink it and drink it. It's just like his presence, you could a guy you could be around because he listened more than he talked, and he was a caring, kind person.
That's a wonderful story, and it's. That's the way a lot of dads and sons bond, right? Over a beer or doing something together where it's not like, oh, let's sit down and have a heart-to-heart. It's like you're having a beer and suddenly you start talking about stuff that really matters.
Right.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Now, the name of this establishment and this brewery, Sturdy Shelter, also has a deeper meaning, not just for something for the beer, but a very personal meaning for you and your wife, Diane, who's co-owner here.
Right. We really took the time to, the name was very important. We wanted to reflect who we are. And we wanted, there's a scripture. This is actually based on a scripture in the Catholic Bible. And it is a scripture that says, "A faithful friend is a sturdy shelter. Whoever finds one finds a treasure." And so we wanted this to be, our mission statement's really built off that. Yeah. We want to create treasured. You know, people who come, they treasure being here. This is a place they know they're loved, they're cared for, and they treasure being a part of it. Not, just it's a mutuality. You
Sure.
walk in here, you're a part of our community, and we try to reflect a culture where a culture of hospitality. I'll talk more about that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So treasured and genial. Genial is a place where you flourish.
Yeah.
Like Hawaii is a genial climate where things just grow.
Right, yeah.
And so we wanted this to be a place where people grow as human beings. They grow in relationship. They grow. We do all kinds of things that help people become better people.
Yeah.
And we could talk about that a little bit more.
Yes, we're going to, because that's part of what makes Sturdy Shelter more than just great beer. And the beer, we're going to get to more about the beer. We already talked about the Italian Pils, and Cody mentioned the stout. We're going to get to more beer in just a minute.
One thing I got to say about
Please.
the name, too. We named this brewery because of the scripture. But what we didn't realize is Diane and I have been married for 45 years.
Right.
We have one of the bedrooms downstairs as a guest bedroom.
Okay.
And we have all the wedding pictures of our children. All our 6 children are married, and all in our wedding picture. But we also had our invitation in there, like framed that they did back in the day.
Yes, I still have ours as well after 35 years. Yep.
Yeah, and my wife came up, after everything, the brewery was named. It was, we were in the process of opening, and she came up with this invitation, and the invitation began with, "A faithful friend is a sturdy shelter. Whoever finds one finds a treasure."
You hadn't made the connection?
Forgot all about it. And it's like full circle.
All right. See, I thought from the story I read that it was you recall. So, wow, that's even more bizarre.
Yeah.
It just came.
It was.
It
was
makes
like
sense, though.
I remember her coming up the steps. She goes, "You are not going to believe this." 45
And she
years,
didn't remember it either?
She didn't remember. and we use the scripture because we are first very close friends. We were really best friends, and she was dating someone else. I was dating someone else. And we were really safe,
Intrigue, yeah. All right.
And then there was that time where, scales fell from my eyes. Oh, my gosh, she's a girl.
That's it. Well, that's what I wanted. That's the background. We've talked to a lot of brewers with a lot of different history. We actually interviewed one brewer who had been a pastor.
Yeah.
But now we've got you and Diane, both involved in youth ministry. You have published 4 books. 3 of them were bestsellers, all about this. And Diane went to the same school that the Pope went to.
That's right.
Cody, this is a first. We have a connection to the Pope. I think we find now a brewery in Rome, and we invite the Pontiff to come and sit down with us. He's a Sox fan like me, so we would be able to do that.
We can get him to come here. We've got a lot of pull. We won an award. We got a great audience.
I don't know. I want to be sitting around all that gilded stuff in the Vatican.
I mean, I won't say no to a trip to Rome, but...
All right. Well, we'll work. We shouldn't be doing program planning during an interview.
Why
so
stop
tell me
now?
This story. Tell me this background. It's fascinating.
Sure. So I was in ministry. I was a youth minister for 10 years, and then after that, we had our youth group was one of the largest youth groups in the country and among Catholic churches. Wow. And after 10 years, I started a not-for-profit organization, and that not-for-profit brought me all over the country. I worked in about 125 different dioceses. Had 4 books published in that field. Wow. What that prepared me for, let me start this. For 30 years I did that. I honestly thought I'd retire that way. Yeah. Because we're late. We came late in the game. To
the beer game.
Yeah.
Because that's as you're telling this story, I'm like, where's the jump? Where's the connection from youth ministry to serving beer to people?
Absolutely. So when I was 40, my wife bought me a homebrewing kit.
Okay.
So that kit began a journey. I almost quit. We always had failures. I had a couple of beers. I didn't know what I was doing. I read the instructions. I thought, I hope I understand what they're saying.
Okay.
And then in the end, it turned out to be beer. And it was like, but I had no idea what I was doing, absolutely no idea.
Okay.
And so the first one came out, and this was back when you didn't have a lot of craft beer, around. So it was good. I had some a failure that I bottled it. I completely oxidized it because I couldn't back then used a siphon. I'm trying to siphon it out, and I gave up. I couldn't do it, so I poured it in, and it, this bubbling, bottled it. And then when I opened it up after all this time and effort, it tasted like wet cardboard. It was horrible. And I thought to myself, you know what? I never want to do this again. That was such a waste of time. And then 6 months went by, and I forgot I had the experience.
There you go.
And I did it again. And everybody tells you, especially, as my kids got older, I had more time. We had 6 kids in 8 years. And so it was a pretty crazy household.
Yeah, that's... How do you have time to brew?
Exactly.
You're changing diapers and making bottles.
Yeah, exactly.
And not with beer in them.
Yeah. That was, as they got older, I got a little more free time, got a little more serious about it. And I would have sometimes as many 12 beers on tap in my house. And
wow.
Yeah, it was and of course that drew people.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Free
beer.
Once
you're the guy with 12 tappers, you are the popular man in the neighborhood.
Exactly. So, but everyone say, "Oh, you should open your own brewery." And I was thinking to myself,
because it's so easy, right, Frank?
Yes.
Just sure,
man.
You brew at home, you might as well open a brewery.
Yeah, it sounded easy, but this was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I had to get I can't just go by my friends and family, right?
Sure.
As I'm starting to think about this seriously. So I took a year. And I entered all kinds of homebrew competitions.
Okay.
And I won a lot of medals in those years. So
That's great.
I felt in that year. And so I thought, okay.
So you went from not knowing anything to winning medals? And this is all just from experimentation, or did you take any classes? Did you just read books? How did you even get to the point where that's possible?
Yeah, I'm a reader. I'm a studier.
Okay.
I know a lot about just a few things.
Yeah.
I don't know much about a lot of things, but I do.
The things
when I dive in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a process. It didn't happen overnight.
Right.
It took a while. I had a homebrew shop in St. Charles that was always, very helpful.
Yeah.
Kind of gave me good advice, and but eventually, I realized I can make good beer.
Okay.
Objectively, but the other piece of it was working in a church environment. I knew how to build community.
Yes.
Especially young people are really hard sell. And if you could learn how to draw young people to the church, no less, I could bring those skills. I could bring, I know what the hungers are of people, and not in a marketing way, but in an authentic way.
Yeah.
And I want to, I wanted to bridge that. I wanted to bring, for people to come and experience community. And there was one of the things that was kind of bothering me, to be honest, was that there were certain people that weren't welcome in the church. Sometimes they're marginalized people who probably need people to care and reach out and love them more than anybody.
100%. And that's, as a Catholic, lapsed, admittedly, that's one of the things that is lacking in a lot of religions. It's like, if we're all supposed to have this same belief, these people have that same belief too. So it seems as if you've created a welcoming atmosphere for everybody here.
That's it. We wanted so to build on the mission statement. We want to build a treasured and genial community, one person, one conversation, and one highly crafted beer at a time. Okay. We try to practice what we call a spirituality of hospitality. It's very different than just being hospitable. Spirituality of hospitality, you recognize the worth of a person, the dignity of a person, simply because they're a human being.
Yeah.
And it's nothing transactional. We're not going to treat you good because we are going to tip. You're going to tip us well.
Right.
It's a very important part that we hire very carefully, and we want people to genuinely care about people and practice the spirituality of hospitality.
Very nice.
I love beer, and we really love people. And to be perfectly honest, I would not have opened this brewery if it was only for beer.
Okay.
Beer is not enough.
Right.
And honestly, beer is a medium. You got to have good beer.
Beer is a connective tissue that whether you're sitting down with friends, whether you're sitting down like we mentioned earlier, if you're just bonding with your dad or your friends or whatever, or a place to just sit and maybe talk to somebody you've never talked to before and make a connection for a minute and move on.
Exactly.
But yeah, you do have to have the product that where they want to keep coming in.
Yeah.
The good beer. Before we take our break, I do want to touch on one last thing about community, because we see behind us there's a lot of people, and we're recording this on a Monday night, and the place had a huge crowd, but part of that part of that crowd was a nonprofit. And Sturdy Shelter not only hosts those, you host talks for people that, just to kind of help them grow, help them be better. And there's also a food pantry out by the front door. So tell us how all that comes together to finally create that community, and then we'll talk more about beer.
Okay. We feel that we not only want to be a place where people feel welcome, connected, they belong, they feel significant, but we also, as a brewery, want to give back to the community. Yeah. So it's really important that we do our part to help those in need. We're doing that in a sense of people walking in here, helping them feel significant, connect them. We're always connecting people with people.
Sure.
But having an opportunity for people who are, maybe struggling to put food on the table to go to our pantry, it's a nice little stopgap. We, as a brewery, we stock it. But in addition to that, our community will come. Like if you walked in the door, there are people that will come in. They bring things, and we tell them that, we do bingo. They get an extra bingo card if they bring things.
Oh, nice. All
of our speaking events, it costs $5. That $5 all goes either towards our pantry or the Interfaith Pantry here in Batavia. We do competitions, chili competitions, pie competition, salsa. We do all these competitions. $5 to judge, $10 to enter. That all goes into the same cause. So
it's truly something unique about Sturdy Shelter, and it enforces, because there's a lot of talk about community, and a lot of breweries do it very well in their communities. This is that little extra that adds something different. Frank Mercadante is my guest. We are at Sturdy Shelter Brewing, which is on Shumway Avenue in Batavia, Illinois. Go to sturdyshelterbrewing.com. When we come back, we are going to have the Brewers break. We're going to talk all about beer and find out what else is going on here at Sturdy Shelter. Cody, it's time for our break. We'll be back after this on Crafty Brewers.
It's time now already?
Well, it was time 4 minutes ago, but, you know I don't listen.
I know. I was going to give you a little grace there, but, here we are.
Welcome back to Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. Today we are in Batavia, Illinois at Sturdy Shelter Brewing. My guest is owner and head brewer Frank Mercadante, and it is time for Brewer's Choice. And Frank, you brought us a lovely mug of something dark, which already has my attention. I'm a dark beer man. What are we going to enjoy?
So this is called Dancing House Dark Czech Lager. This is the first time we brewed it. So what you're drinking is like our inaugural expression of this beer.
For those not familiar, what is a Czech dark lager?
So the dark Czech lager probably was a beer that preceded your Pilsner, because you couldn't, most beers were dark until Daniel Wheeler invented the drum roaster. And that allowed maltsters to produce beers that were much more lighter in color.
Okay.
So this is an old style, and it has all Bohemian ingredients, kind of a base Pilsner malt to it, It has some Carabohemian malts. It has the story behind this beer. The reason why I brewed it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you've been in business for a while, and you said this is the first time.
First time.
What all of a sudden made you go, dark Czech lager? That's what I got to do.
So we do these brewery trips. We take 44 people to great areas, great like countries that have wonderful beer traditions.
Wow.
Places like Germany, especially Bavaria. Yeah. We go to Oktoberfest. We go to Austria. We go to Czech Republic. We're going to Belgium and the Netherlands in April.
Wow.
We have gone to Ireland. We are actually, our next trip is to Asheville.
Really?
Yeah, that's our first domestic trip.
That sounds great.
Can I be on your crew and go to all these places?
Really. Do you need people to come and document things and interview the brewers for you?
I can get some video. I got cameras.
A lot of fun.
We're a good crew. We're very low maintenance. Just give us beer and we're good to go.
You're good.
But this is more. Talk about community. You're actually leaving with the community you've built here at Sturdy Shelter.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go on these trips. And people can find that on your website. That's what I said to my wife. I said, we're interviewing Sturdy Shelter tomorrow. They do these trips, international for breweries. She said, oh, well, because that's like our sweet spot when we go somewhere. We want to see I can only see so many museums and cathedrals, Frank.
Right.
They're beautiful. I get it.
Yes.
All right. Art. I love it. Oh, these cathedrals are magnificent, cool. Hey, there's a brewery. Let's go sit for a while and talk to people. So what made, on one of those trips, what made this the style that stuck with you that you were like, I got to try this?
Yeah, so we've gone to the Czech Republic twice. We went in 2024, 2025. We're going back in 2026. There is a brewery in Prague. It's called U Fleků.
U Fleků?
And U Fleků. Yeah. Okay. And you cannot get their beer except at their brewery, and it's a historic brewery. And they've been, for hundreds of years, have been brewing this dark Czech lager.
Okay.
And hands down, it was always the favorite. I mean, we were going to some great breweries in Germany, Austria, Czech. I mean, very well-known breweries, but everyone would come back and they'd say, U Flekú's Dark Czech Lager was our favorite beer.
Wow. This may seem like a silly question, but if you can only get the beer at the brewery, how does that is it just word of mouth that you have to travel to this place and try this beer?
Yeah.
Is that?
I mean, I think people in the beer community, especially have some international understanding, will know of U Fleků.
Okay.
It's a very charming place. Right there, it's old. It's been around for ages. They have they're cooling their beers in a cool ship, which is very old.
Yes.
Way.
We only learned about that from one of our interviews with the cool ship at Dovetail.
Yeah. Same kind of concept. This is, cooling there. Sometimes they'll use cool ships for fermenting in especially Hefeweizen beers, but it just has this old feel, decoction mashing, which is a process of taking. It's an old-fashioned process before malt was highly modified as it is today. So they use all these old-fashioned means of making this beer. But hands down, favorite beer of everybody who went on the trip.
Wow. Okay.
And they'd be like, "Hey, when are you going to brew a beer like U Flekú's beer?"
No pressure. Just build one of the best beers in the world.
Yeah.
Can you do that, Frank? Can you whip that out?
It took me 2 years.
Really? How many different recipes did you go through?
I don't do, like, I'm not one who will do like small batches.
Okay.
I have confidence in my understanding of the ingredients where I don't think I'm going to blow it. Now, next week I probably will.
Knock on wood.
We dumped that beer
Famous
because I said that. But I felt like I needed time to learn all about the style, to figure out. I didn't want it to be a clone.
Sure.
I wanted it to express what I felt would work here, but also have, like, when people drank it, they would say, "Oh my, this reminds me of that beer."
Okay.
But I wanted to make it a little more toasty. I wanted to have a little more kind of roasty expression.
That's what I was trying to figure out. Well, I was like, it is the roastiness. Cody would agree.
And I don't typically gravitate towards, like, if I order a lager somewhere and I'm not paying attention and it's like a dark lager, I'm like, oh no. Like, I don't typically like it. It's very crushable, honestly. It's light, it's crispy. We've talked to breweries who say it's really hard to market balance. It's hard to say, like, well, buy our beer, it's balanced.
It's balanced.
But, like, it is balanced. I am loving this beer.
I'm so glad.
Who do you find typically gravitates toward it? Is it lager drinkers? Is it stout drinkers? Is it because it's dark, but it's a lager? So what's the target audience?
What's the demo for dark Czech lagers?
All the people went on our trips.
Okay, there you go. You just have to get more people going on the trips.
Yeah. It's actually been our number one seller
Wow.
since we released it, which I was kind of surprised. You always see a bump. When you release a new beer, there's always a bump. Everyone wants it. They want to try it. But this held on.
Okay.
This beer, and I do think, we had about, 80 people who went on this trip who loved that style. And I know that they're very much, you've been drinking it, and then it's really caught on. We're I think as a brewery, I think we're really known for, like, a variety of beers.
Yeah.
It's not so we got this Czech beer. We've got a Munich Helles style. I'm drinking a Belgian beer.
You've got your barrel-aged beer.
And we have
which is solid, by the way.
Oh,
and I'm very particular about my barrel-aged beers, honestly.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
He says particular. I like to say he's a snob about it. He's very
well, that means more to me.
very
I'm glad
picky.
you're a snob and you
he
like
likes
it.
to. He's had enough of them to be able to judge greatly. So, just another very basic question for people who hear us say, "Oh, it's toasty." That comes from the malts, right? Is there an extra step or a difference in roasting malts for this kind of lager than there is for roasting malt for something else?
Well, all the ingredients are ingredients that have been grown in the Czech Republic,
And that gives them a different character.
So there is terroir, for your malts. There's maltsters are going to produce. They always have different ways of doing things that produce a different type of flavor.
Okay.
So we made sure that we this is all Saaz hops. So Saaz is it's what made the Czech Pilsner famous.
Ah, all right.
And I know U Fleků uses Saaz on it, and so it's straight up Saaz.
Okay.
But I wanted to get a little more roastiness to this.
Yeah.
So you're gonna pick up some coffee and some light chocolate notes, but I didn't want that to be. I didn't want to push it where it became less crushable. Like you're like, okay, I could drink one of these because it's kind of rich. I wanted it to have those flavor notes, but just at the point where I could drink a lot of these beers.
Yeah.
Not, I don't mean it like.
No, but you
but
always
they're
want to.
crushable.
I want to be able to have more than one. There's some beers I've tried, and I'm like, I really love this. There's no way I could have another one.
Right.
And that doesn't mean it's not a great beer because I love that one that I had.
Yeah.
But whether it's for whatever reason, there's a million different reasons for everybody has their own. But yeah, I like something that I taste and I really like, and then I go, oh, because if I'm having it before dinner or I want to be able to have another one.
Right.
I'm a man with voracious appetites,
Yes,
Frank.
no.
I can't just have one beer.
Can I get a growler of this? It's so good.
Oh, I'm glad.
It's so good. I'm like legit. It's really good.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Listen, everybody who's watched this knows if Cody is that effusive about something, come to Batavia. Have a dark Czech lager. You're not going to go
There's
wrong.
episodes where I'm not like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like if I say, oh my God, this is awesome, I mean, oh my God, this is awesome. I have no filter,
That's
Frank.
one thing.
For better or for worse, I have no filter.
We're a lot of things. We don't
better
give
for me,
faint,
and I like it.
no faint praise. Now, you mentioned Sturdy Shelter, known for a lot of different styles, and
Yeah.
you do have a lot of different styles. Is there, as a brewer, you can tell us, it's not offensive to your other styles, what's the one you like brewing the most? Is there a style that you're like, this is, if I could only drink this style, this is what I'd be happy with?
Let me go in a little bit of a different direction
Okay.
with that, because I want to talk about a beer that is really hard to brew.
Oh, all
and
right.
I kind of like the challenge of it. Your Weiss or Hefeweizen style
Yeah.
is probably the most complicated beers to brew.
Why? What makes it so complicated?
Because of the step mashing, we do a very low rest to stimulate ferulic acid, which creates that 4-vinyl glycol, which translates that's a phenol that translates into clove. And so
Okay.
you have to develop clove, and the yeast, helps do that.
Okay.
But so we have this low rest, and then we have another 2 rests that go, and we do like what we call a Hochhertz match, and that it is we don't have steam. We're 10-barrel brewery, and so what I have to do is do a very initial mash at a low temperature, and then I have to add boiling water to raise it to another enzymatic mash, like a beta mash, and then a alpha amylase mash, and so there's a lot of it's complicated.
Wow. Yeah.
And then
Well, it doesn't sound complicated at all.
no, but that's the hot side. The cold side is just as complicated, because temperature, you got to starve that yeast. You do a low cell count.
Okay.
You starve it of oxygen. What that does is it creates stress in that yeast. And so how we stress, we sweat.
Yeah.
They kind of produce esters, which gives you this nice fruitiness. And
Sweaty yeast gives you the clove. All right.
Yeah.
That's not the scientific term.
Analogy.
But I try to bring it down to common folk like me.
No,
I go, it's sweaty yeast. But all right, so you've got this 3 steps. So the question for me, as a guy who embraces sloth whenever possible, it sounds like a hassle. Why? I mean, the end product is great. Hefeweizens are delicious and refreshing. Why put yourself through that?
I think I like the challenge of it.
Yeah.
That's why I like brewing the beer. And I'll be honest, sometimes I'll brew that beer and I'll follow everything to a T, and it doesn't come out exactly the way I was hoping it to come out. And then the next time, it is a challenging beer.
Okay.
You could, ideally, you want to have this banana, this bubblegum flavor with this underlying clove. Good balance between the two of them.
Right.
You don't want a banana bomb. You don't want a clove bomb. You want this nice balance.
Sure.
Sometimes you could get circus peanuts.
I'm one of the few people who enjoys circus peanuts. So if you ever have a batch that goes that way, I like circus peanuts. Everybody else I know hates them, but don't at me. I like the circus peanuts. Do you know what those even are, Cody?
They're peanuts that you buy at the circus?
They're not. They're orange candy that are shaped like peanuts.
Oh, I don't like that. Do I? I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Get a shot for the edit. Drop in a still of a circus peanut.
I'm not going to do that.
You should do that. So Hefeweizen is the hardest. Is that the style that presents the most challenge for you in a creative sense? That's the one where you're like,
it does.
This really brings out all my skills and all my
or lack of.
I don't know. Maybe Circus Peanut Cream Ale will sell. You never know.
Yeah, maybe so.
Give it a try.
I don't know.
Let's talk about the bronze medal that you won and Sturdy Shelter won at the World Beer Cup in 2025 for the Dunkel.
Yeah, I think it was
for
2024.
Wilson Street Dunkel. Was it 24?
I think it was 24.
Either way. Okay. You won a medal, Frank.
I don't want to. Yeah,
That's the
I don't
thing.
want someone to say I won that one that year.
Well, no, I thought maybe my numbers could be off. Who knows? But the point of the story is I love Dunkels. I'm thankfully seeing more Dunkels, but a lot of people once again, there's a bias against dark beer, and people see a Dunkel, and they're not sure what it is. Yeah. What is a Dunkelweizen?
No, it's a Dunkel.
A Dunkel.
Yeah, Dunkelweizen is a dark Hefeweizen, the dark wheat beer.
Okay, so what's a Dunkel?
A Dunkel is a lager versus a Dunkelweizen is an ale. So this is
why do they call them so similar names, Frank? As you can see, I get.
It's the Germans.
What is up, Germany?
Yeah.
You're confusing us with your names.
And you only need to know a little bit of language. Dunkel means dark.
Okay.
Weizen means wheat. Helles means like a light color. Schwarz, means
Schwarz, black beer.
So I mean,
Schwarz beers are good too.
Yeah, they are. And a Dunkel is kind of under a Schwarz beer.
Okay.
So a Dunkel was probably the most popular beer prior to the development of the Czech Pils, which then unleashed the Munich Helles and the German Pils. Most beers were dark. They tend to be smoky. So it was a dominant style.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, this Czech dark lager, in many ways, is the Czech version of the German Dunkel.
Oh, okay.
So I always liked Dunkel, especially those that came from Germany. I always felt like, wow, how did they do this?
Yes.
And as a home brewer, I kept trying. I kept I did it this way. I did decoction mashing. I made all these different variations in pursuit of it.
Okay.
And honestly, I never felt I got there. But I entered the Dunkel in the World Beer Cup. Honestly, only for feedback.
Okay.
I just,
That's fair.
I don't think this, they'll give me some judge's notes. I'll read it. I'll learn to maybe go to the next version of it. And I wasn't even paying attention to the contest. I was doing a beer, like I was talking about, like we did a beer dinner. And I'm just talking about, the beer that we're drinking with this food. And my phone is like ding, 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 ding. And I'm, when I get done
very
talking,
popular, Frank.
Not normally. And so I look at my phone and there's congratulations. And at first nobody really said, they probably presumed that I was watching.
Yes, yeah.
And I just didn't have any expectation. And eventually I said, for what? And they said, you just medaled in the Munich Dunkel category. And it was, it was a big surprise.
Wow.
It was, I worked at it, but I didn't think I achieved.
So what is the secret? What makes not only Wilson Street an award-winning Dunkel, but what makes a good Dunkel?
I think you got to have you have to have this. You got to have a good kind of a roasty flavor, but not too roasty. A nice kind of chocolatey, light kind of coffee. You don't want to overpower it with hops. You want to have a good balance of hops that is balancing that roast. Where if it gets too hoppy, they could get in the way. It could start to add bitterness to it. Where you're between your roast and your bitterness, it takes it over the top. So you got to balance that really well. You got to attenuate it well so it has a nice dry finish. Yeah. You don't want it sweet. You don't want it kind of lingering, with kind of this lingering sweet kind of flabbiness. So it is, to do it well. I think we use a hot Kurtz mash with it. We do two infusions. Both on a low kind of beta amylase infusion and a alpha amylase infusion. I think we have kind of the right mix where it's not. Sometimes you could use too many like crystal malts and get it a little too sweet.
Okay.
Or you could use too much roast malt, get it a little bit too kind of acidic and roasty. Yeah. You got to have the right water profile to balance that. So that you're not. You got to balance that acidity of those dark malts. So there's a lot of complex elements that you put all this stuff together. And you want a yeast that's going to give more malt flavor because it's a malt forward.
Yeah,
lager.
that's what I always enjoy about those kind of beers. All right, I've got to ask you about Batavia because Cody said there's something unique about having a business in Batavia. And first of all, why Batavia? We mentioned the history of this building, but why Batavia, and what makes opening a business here so unique?
That's an important question. When we started to dream about opening a brewery, there was almost this intuitive sense that we were going to do it here.
Yeah.
We always felt this is a very unpretentious town. This is a very community-focused town. They're very loyal. Because you have to understand that Batavia lives with St. Charles.
Very
to the
popular St. Charles.
Yeah, St. Charles it's got a lot of stuff going on downtown. Especially if you're young, it has got a great, it has great bars down there. Geneva is a pretty amazing town. It has everything, and
So Batavia has an inferiority complex?
It does.
Oh, boy. That's not good. Okay.
But they want some, honestly, if I opened in Geneva with all the stuff in Geneva, I always think, if I open in Geneva, they say, hey, I hope you make it here, because they have so much.
Yeah.
When we opened in Batavia, people came up to us and they said, thank you so much for opening in our town. I heard it over and over again. The first weekend we were open to the public, we were cleaning up in the back, and there was this young couple back there. They're looking out the window at the river, and the woman says to her, whether it was her boyfriend or husband, she says, "Do you believe this? This is all ours." This is ours.
That's the beginning of that community. Now people take ownership because we have a place. We find, and so is that why every piece of merch? Now every brewery has merch, and mostly it's the brewery names. But every piece of your merch has Batavia on it.
Yes.
And
we learned that early on.
There you go.
They wanted Batavia. And we were happy to oblige.
Sure, yeah, why not?
We're proud to be here. We love this town. We love these people. These are such wonderful people. They're loyal. I'm grateful for how well they've received us in this community.
Yeah.
I love it here, and I can't imagine being open anywhere else.
No, well that's great. And you were saying that everything there were forces behind you ending up in this building. That whatever your belief in fate or whatever, some things guided you right here, right? Because you were going to open somewhere else originally
in Batavia. So there are a lot of providential things that occurred.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a man of faith.
Sure.
And I do, I believe, that I feel like there's someone very much bigger than me with more wisdom than me has kind of establish our steps.
Okay.
We were going to open in a place that fell through. It was devastating. I had invested a lot of money into it. I was kind of crushed by it. And yet I knew that, something is going to present itself.
Yeah.
About 5 weeks of floundering, this place opened up. A riverfront property, like an architect and engineering firm owned this building before us. They had their offices here. So they rehabbed this building. This building was one of the biggest eyesores in the community.
Okay.
Kluber Architect and Engineering Firm took this and made it into an Energy Star rated building from an eyesore. They housed their offices here. They then, after 10 years, they outgrew it. And they put it on the market just as I was looking for a place. And it's funny because someone from the city was showing me some things, and they showed me 2 properties online, and I looked at one, I looked at the other, and I remember I said, is there anything else? And she paused for a moment. Well, there is one other place. And then
you probably wouldn't like it.
Right, or you probably couldn't afford it.
Couldn't afford, well, yeah.
And so she shows this place, and we came in here thinking, there's no way we could afford this.
Sure.
And somehow, some way, it worked. We had the Kluber. I have a beer, and a West Coast IPA that is called the Kluber IPA.
Okay.
And it's because of 2. One, he prepared this place for us.
Yeah.
2, he was deferential to us. he wanted this building to go back to the community. He wanted this to be a place where the community would gather. And so he, there was a point where my bank said, you have to have permits before we'll issue your loan. I said, well, how could I have permits when I don't own the building? And he was like, all right, that's your problem. I'll hold your mortgage. I'll hold your mortgage until until you get those permits, or for up to 2 years. And who does that?
Nobody.
Yeah. So
nobody.
I think that was his dedication to the community. I think he resonated with our mission. He resonated with I told him, this is who we are. This is our mission. It's more like beer. I love beer, but beer is a medium for building community, to be a part of the community, to foster belonging, connection, significance to everyone who walks in the store, to give back to those in need. I think he resonated with the mission.
Nice.
I think he wanted to bring this back to the community, and I think it was just, there was a lot of kindness there.
That's fantastic.
So
it's been a great story, and that should be enough. But before we get to our short pour, what's the future look like? What's next for Sturdy Shelter? You're building this community. That's going to continue to grow. You're brewing different kinds of styles. That's going to continue. What else is on the agenda?
So one of the things that we're most excited about is that finally we're going to build a riverfront deck. We have a lower deck that we're going to knock out. You can't see this, but there's a window. We're going to make that.
Can. I got B-roll.
Oh, he's got B-roll.
We have B-roll.
All right, so you can highlight that. So we're going to knock out a window and make it into a door. You're going to be able to walk right out there. You're going to cross the river path, and then we're going to have a riverfront deck on our entire property.
Dude.
So we think it's going to be like amazing.
There is nothing better than drinking a beer near the water.
Yeah.
And you already have a beautiful view out there because there are other historic buildings in downtown Batavia. So it's a great view just standing back there. I can see being excited about that. That makes sense. Okay.
It's been a long time in the making, too, because there was a retention wall that collapsed shortly after we started construction here. It was the city's responsibility. It took them over 2 years to do it, and they wouldn't let us build until that was done. And so now beyond the river, we have to get permits from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, from the Army Corps of Engineers, the city. It's extremely complicated.
Yeah.
So it's been we've gone through the process. We are meeting with our potential contractor tomorrow, my architect. We're going through all the details. Everything pans out. We will hopefully begin that in maybe later this month.
Okay.
Or April we'll start construction.
Wow, and what's the target for completion?
I'm hoping late spring,
So you get the whole summer season out there. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, well, Frank, it is time for us to get to the short pour. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. You got a minute to answer each one. We're going to use these for all different kinds of things, mostly blackmail, but don't worry about that. Everything is fine. Okay, short pour number 1 in a minute or less, Frank. What's the number 1 mistake you think people make when they're judging a beer?
Well, I think not beer judges, but
just regular
people. I think sometimes people don't appreciate styles. They want they like IPAs, and when a Belgian triple doesn't taste like an IPA, they can say, "I hate this beer. This thing tastes terrible." So one of my, obviously, judge it within the parameters of its style. That is a pet peeve.
It's got to be hard though, because a lot of people, like we talked about Dunkels, they've maybe heard of the style, but they don't really know it.
Right.
All right, that was a good answer. Very good. And one more in 30 seconds. Your favorite behind-the-scenes brewery moment?
Oh, boy. Let me tell you something that was fresh in my mind.
Yes.
So, this is
the way he's hesitating, Cody. This is going to be good.
I'm really excited for this.
I'm hesitating because it's emotional.
Oh, now I feel like a jerk.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cody.
No, it's good. Make me laugh because we had disabled people here as a part. We do this thing called Becoming Neighbors.
Okay.
And so we try to get like people that hear voices of people that are sometimes on this, the outskirts. And so we brought in a group, Rising Lights, that were like adult disabilities.
Frank is being coached by his wife Diane, who is standing next to Cody. So she was invited. She doesn't want to be on, so she,
Yeah, adults with disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah. They came and they talked about like some of the struggles they go through.
Sure.
Like being accepted and how people sometimes how to be patient and relate. And it was a beautiful moment. It was a community kind of gathered to hear those voices. So, yeah, I had to walk away.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is great,
because it really touched me.
And again, it goes to the whole vibe we've been talking about the whole time. Frank Mercadante has been our guest. Before we get to the final toast, I want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer. Please, and I say this every episode, and it's become more and more important, we've lost 5 breweries in the last 2 weeks here in Illinois have announced that they're closing.
As of recording
as the day of recording. So please be sure to support your local brewery. Listen, without your support, it's rough going for some of your favorite breweries, and these breweries are building communities, not just here at Sturdy Shelter, but the brewery near you. Get out there and help them out. Great breweries are announcing their closing, and it's up to you to help keep those doors open. Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer is produced by award-winning podcast producer and man with, no, not today, your hair's not looking as great as normal, but he usually has pretty good hair, Cody Goff.
As great or as gray?
No, well, it's gray, too. You're getting old, Cody. I've known you since you were young and trying to get on beautiful people websites. Now you're just an old man with a family. Cheers to that.
Thank you for
that.
that.
You're welcome. You can visit our website and browse our archive of well over 50 episodes. Get in touch with us or grab some of our delightful merch at CraftyBrewersPod.com. We release a new episode of Crafty Brewers every other Thursday or whenever Cody feels like it because he's very busy. But we do it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. You want to support the show? Why not? We're nice guys. You can leave a comment on YouTube. That's the best way because YouTube wants subscribers. So leave a comment on there. Any comment will do. Nothing negative. Why the hate? We don't need that. But tell a friend about the show. That would be great, too.
We also do now have a Patreon at patreon.com/CraftyBrewers. And our very first Perfect Pint patron, David S., thank you so much,
Thank you, David,
for supporting us. It costs us money to do the show, so we don't want to make $1 million. We just want it to cost us less money, a little less money to do the show that we do for free for you.
You may not understand this. Neither Cody nor I were business majors, so losing money seems to make sense to us.
So you ran a not-for-profit too?
Yeah, we do run a not-for-profit.
Frank, we got to get some tips from you. We have no idea what we're doing.
We got to
clearly
figure this out. Thanks again to Frank Mercadante from Sturdy Shelter Brewing for joining us. I'm Brian Noonan. That brings us to our final toast. Frank, we like to start with our guests. What are we toasting today?
We have a kind of a byline. We always say cheers to community.
Cheers
so
to
that
community.
is we have shirts that says cheers to community.
Very
so
nice.
Why don't we end with cheers to community?
Cody?
So first of all, I actually kept...
You did finally keep some beer for the final
Sometimes
toast.
I do not keep a quantity of beer. I kept both a little bit of the barrel-aged stout and the dark Czech lager. Look, man, cheers to a brewery that if you were within 45 minutes of me, I would come to all the time.
Thank you.
It is a Monday. It is packed. I feel like you've said hello to every single person here. I feel like every person here knows you guys. And I don't mean that in like a, only your friends drink here kind of way. I mean that in a, like, you clearly are invested in this place. There is a real community here. I cannot like emphasize how different this vibe is than so many of the 50 plus breweries we've been to really feels. And I also was raised Catholic, so I can relate to a lot of this stuff. Love that passage from the Bible. I will be remembering that one. And I didn't actually answer your question. I'm just toasting to a really fantastic community-focused brewery with incredibly good beer and a place that I wish I could hang out more often.
And I will toast to community and feeling welcome and meeting new people who have a mission that they're walking the walk. They're not just talking the talk. So cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks for
Cheers,
joining us.
Cody.
We'll see you next time. Cheers.